Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. And you're probably looking here right in front of you and wondering what the heck am I looking at? Well, I will let you guys know right now what we're looking at are bootleg figures. These are two knockoff figures that have just recently shown up, and because they were just ridiculously cheap, I was intrigued enough to pull the trigger and buy them. And I'm still kind of in the decision-making process as to whether I regret it or not, because they're not very nice. They're really kind of ugly, but at the same time, they're not the worst things I've ever seen, so, maybe I don't regret it? I don't know. Either way, let's take a closer look and you guys can decide for me if I should regret it. Now, this one is a Mojo Fun Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's their smaller T-Rex figure that they had come out, and quite clearly it was stolen by those wonderful Chinese bootleggers. But it's pretty much the exact same figure. Nothing has been done to it, nothing has been altered to it other than the paint. And you can see that this new paint job is just a very strange bright blue. But they've actually done a little bit of a decent job as far as giving it different tones and coloration to the paint job of it. It doesn't look that bad as far as the way the paint has been applied. It looks kind of natural, but it has this ugly area of this really weird light bluish green on the top of the head that I am definitely not a fan of. I know they were just trying to give it a little bit of difference in coloration, but it's kind of a little weird. But the overall appearance is this blue, and then there are a few different little shades of blue. You can see it gets a little darker like here in the legs, as opposed to up on the back it's a little lighter. Has a little bit of a yellow on the stomach, and there has actually been a wash, you can see, that's been put over it. It's got a gray underbelly, and some of the, I don't know if this blue that's on the underside here is actually meant to be there or if that was just sloppy painting. But you can see that, like I said, there has been a wash that's been put into the paint job of the underbelly, and you can see that the head has got the articulated jaw. The jaw works pretty nice, but it opens wide enough that you can now see that the inside of the mouth disconnects. But the inside of the mouth is painted fairly nicely, and the teeth actually don't look that bad as far as the paint goes, and neither does the eye. One thing that's big on a lot of these bootlegs is that they usually have really sloppily painted eyes, and the eyes in this one are not that bad at all. And the jaw actually works really quite nice. It does not have any issues with moving, and you can open it to different lengths if you would like. So I guess that's a little bit of a plus to this bootleg figure, but I'm not really super sold on the paint. Honestly, if it wasn't just really cheap, I probably wouldn't even have bought it, just simply because I'm not a big fan of blue Tyrannosaurus Rex figures. It doesn't look that bad, but it's not that great either. Now, taking a look at the original next to this newer bootleg version, you can see the original definitely looks significantly nicer in my opinion. You can see that there has also been some loss of detail when they bootlegged it, but not too much. I mean, for the most part, it's pretty similar, or at least it appears to be pretty similar to me. I definitely like the original version much more. I like the color scheme much more on the original version as well. And this newer bluish version has a heavy gloss to it, so it looks very shiny, which I am also not a fan of. But overall, I guess it's not the worst bootleg figure I've ever seen, and probably not the cheapest made, as I have seen some pretty horrendous bootlegs in the past. So I guess they get like a D+, maybe, on this guy. Either way, the Mojo one, the original, is definitely much better. And then we've got this, which is a brand new bootleg of the Papo Velociraptor, meant to look like blue. Now, I know a while ago I showed you guys my Papo Velociraptor collection, and I had a custom painted blue figure in that collection, which I didn't even paint it, I purchased it online, and a lot of people had asked where I had gotten it. Well, I purchased it on eBay. But, unfortunately, the person that was selling them no longer was selling them, so now you've got another option at a very cheap knockoff version of a blue as far as these Papo Raptors go, but it's just unfortunately a knockoff bootleg figure. You can see the mouth is articulated, and the inside of the mouth isn't half bad as far as paint goes. It looks pretty nicely painted, it's not super sloppy or anything. and there is a little bit of difference in coloration on the inside of the mouth actually. It makes it look a little bit real. The overall paint on the outside, on the body, looks decent, but it doesn't really look like blue. I mean, it's gray like blue, but he looks different than he's not just gray. He's got like many different variations of gray and like little hints of white and stuff in him. And one thing that is definitely a downside to this blue knockoff as opposed to the actual blue is the blue doesn't reach the eye on this side of blue. And it's something that I only recently started to notice, so now I kind of look for it right away on figures. So they did go all the way up and over the eye, but I can't really expect the bootleggers to pay too much attention to that. But on this side, the blue would come up onto the eye, but then it also comes under it on the real blue figure, and it does not on this. The blue stripe that runs down the length of the body here is really kind of sloppy looking. It doesn't look very nice, and the white outline looks okay, but it doesn't really look that great either. It just, I don't know, it looks really fake. It doesn't look like body color, but which is sad because actually the rest of the Raptor has had this very nice dry brushing done to it, and I really like the dry brushing. I really like it up here on the top of the head. I think that really brought out the detail on the top of the head. So some parts of this blue Raptor I do think looks pretty nice, and other parts not so much. The nails are painted a black on both the hands and the feet, and they are glossed, so they look half decent. So it's kind of a little bit nice, a little bit garbage. I'm not really sure how I feel again about this guy either. But if we bring in a Papo original compared to this Papo knockoff, you can see that the Papo original is much nicer. As with all knockoff figures, the original is always way nicer than these bootleg versions. So if you're just looking for an alternate version of a Velociraptor from Papo, it's not a bad choice to buy one of these little knockoffs, especially if you're looking for a blue version and don't want to paint it yourself. You can always get this kind of cheap looking version. But if you want a good quality Papo Velociraptor, you're gonna have to buy a good quality Papo Velociraptor, or else you're gonna lose probably a lot of detail and sculpt and everything when it comes to this guy. Not to mention the paint is way nicer on the originals than it is on knockoff figures. So as you guys probably know by now, anybody that's been following my channel for a little while now, every time I see a knockoff bootleg figure of a dinosaur figure that I already have, I'm always quite intrigued. I really do like these knockoff figures normally. A lot of the time they'll make figures in a different color or a different paint scheme, which is exactly what these guys are, which is what drew me to them, and I will usually get pretty excited and end up buying them. I always buy the original though before I buy a knockoff bootleg figure of any figure, simply because the company that originally makes the figure should receive payment for that figure, not just these people that steal the sculpts and make their own versions and profit off of them. But if you would like a figure that's very fun to repaint, or just completely re-sculpt, or just changed however you would like, or using a diorama or anything, bootleg figures are not a bad way to go. And if you're just looking for an alternate version of a figure you already have, again, not a bad way to go. Or if you're just specifically looking for a blue Velociraptor that happens to be in a Papo stance, then the guy in the background there isn't that bad of a way to go, even though he's kind of ugly. So whether or not I regret buying these guys, I guess not, but they're definitely not my favorite bootleg figures that I have. They're interesting, I'll put it that way, but they're not that bad. I'm not really going to give them a size or anything because they are exactly the same size as the originals, and I have reviewed both of the original figures of these guys previously, so if you would like to see those reviews, I will include the links to those reviews in the description, and I will also include links to where I purchased these guys if you would like to buy some for yourself. So it's up to you guys. They're kind of ugly, but they're kind of interesting. So really, it's your choice if you want to go ahead and grab some of these knockoff figures. And if you do, check the description, and if you don't, then just ignore the description. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.